Hello, this is the Entrepreneurs Unity Group. Today I'm going to discuss The Day After, a Russian apocalyptic thriller show. Take care and have fun. The show begins with a commercial stating that mankind should be given a second chance. It then discusses Pinnacle Corporation, a pharmaceutical business that is allegedly helping the world become a better place. Following then, the scene transitions to an underground bunker-like location with a large number of individuals resting on the floor. Two of them, Rina and Pasha, will soon awaken. They have no memory of their past or how they got there. To make matters worse, they discover several unconscious humans laying throughout the area. Terrified, Rina and Pasha try in vain to find a way out of the situation. Suddenly, the other individuals regain consciousness as well. They, too, have no idea how they got here. While looking for a way out, two more people, Natasha and Sasha, enter the restroom and discover a man hiding inside. He identifies himself as Nerd and bursts out laughing, declaring that they are going to die soon. Soon later, a fearless young guy named Valera summons all 11 people to gather around and try to recall the events leading up to their kidnapping. Natasha recounts spending a typical day with her family and friends. The next thing she recalls is waking up in this bleak location. Nerd sees a camera in the room and informs everyone that they are being observed as the talk continues. In the bustling streets, an elderly guy, Mr. Randomski, can be seen on the phone with someone, pleading with them to leave the city as soon as possible. He later receives a phone call from an unknown number warning him that his daughter has been stolen and is in danger. Randomski is then told that if he wants to see his daughter alive, he must come in the lab within an hour. He agrees because he has no other option. Back in the underground bunker, Sasha and Irina discover some ancient images of doctors and determine that the location was formerly a research facility or, more likely, an operating theater. At the same time, Pasha, Nerd, and another guy named Mitya enter the cold storage area and discover a large amount of powdered food. Mitya realizes that whomever brought them here intends to hold them for a long time. However, Nerd, being a pessimist, believes the meal is contaminated. Mitya brings the food to the other room and places it on the table to put the theory to the test. Valera grabs it and begins eating it right away. When Mitya notices that the food has no negative effects on Valera, he joins in and begins eating corn puffs. Meanwhile, Sasha and Irina are looking for the operating room, and it appears that they have located it. They unlock a concealed door and discover an operation bed with some tools and a child's things nearby. Irina, who appears to be a surgeon, identifies the tools right once and informs the others that they are used to amputate bodily parts. After a while, everyone leaves the room save Nerd and a mischievous man named Xenia, who continue their research. Nerd tries to smell a suspicious powder on the table, but Xenia blows on it, causing the powder to splatter all over Nerd's face. This suffocates him and causes him to cough heavily. To make matters worse, Xenia exits the room and shuts the door, locking Nerd within. Irina and Natasha, fortunately, come just in time and open the door. Nerd is coughing up blood and suffocating severely at this point. When they see his state, they all get horrified and begin to blame Xenia. In another scene, when Randomski is being led away in a van, he strikes the guards, culminating in a little skirmish. During the ruckus, a vital vial contained within a box slides over and falls into a hole. It then collides with a fan and snaps. The contents of the vial begin to flow till it reaches a railway station, where many people are waiting for their train. Surprisingly, they all begin to lose their wits and tumble to the ground one by one. In the following scenario, a news channel states that an unknown substance has been spilled at a station, causing thousands of individuals to experience symptoms such as high temperature and blurred vision. It also adds that the sickness has a high fatality rate and that the government is doing everything possible to keep it under control. Meanwhile, inside the Pinnacle Corporation offices, an employee approaches Mr. Glitov's office and notifies him of Randomski's escape. He also explains that the virus within the vial they were looking for has been destroyed, and that everyone around the city are infected with it. Glitov, enraged, yells at the employee and orders him to find Randomski at whatever cost. He also emphasizes that details concerning their top-secret project, dubbed Clayton, should not be disclosed. Furthermore, no one should be aware of the Pinnacle Corporation, which conducts genetic mutation studies and wreaks havoc on the metropolis using viruses. Sasha continues her investigation throughout the bunker and discovers some images of doctors wearing aprons with the Pinnacle Corporation insignia. When he notices this, he immediately summons the others to the room and tries to convince them that they are being held hostage by Pinnacle Corporation for some reason. Sasha also discusses Project Clayton, which he discovered while attempting to hack the corporation's primary servers with his crew. Unfortunately, none of them believe his words and walk away. On the other hand, we watch the entire city being evacuated while Randomski is still alive and roaming the streets. Glatov's employee informs at the Pinnacle Corporation's headquarters that the virus does not appear to affect young women and that it will be ineffective after a day. When Glatov hears this, he orders the shutdown of all communication networks in Moscow. Randomski later arrives at an evacuation point and attempts to attract the attention of an officer. He admits that he is one of the virus's inventors and that the Pinnacle Corporation is behind everything. Unfortunately, the officer does not pay attention to him because he is busy evacuating the area. Randomski is arrested for disturbing the cops when he continues to assert that he is telling the truth. Meanwhile, Nerd, who is resting in the so-called bedroom, has a vision of the doctors attempting an experiment on him. Nerd feels Marina is a spy who is passing their information to the bad guys since he saw her chatting to a nurse in his vision. As a result, he approaches Marina, holds her at knife point, and demands that she divulge the truth. Despite everyone's request that he leave Marina alone, Nerd refuses to listen and continues to claim that Marina is assisting the doctors with their research. Fortunately, Mitya grabs his knife from behind and beats him to a pulp before he can harm Marina. Following the encounter, Nerd is taken to the other room and restrained while Irina attends to his wounds. She asks if he wants some water, but Nerd, who has begun to become paranoid, claims that she is also a spy out to poison him. Later, while everyone is debating what to do with Nerd, the group's elegant and arrogant lady, Nadia, advises they kill him. She thinks that Nerd may have been infected with a contagious sickness, which is why he's been acting strangely. Some of them agree, but Irina, Sasha, and Natasha are utterly opposed. When Marina returns to the bedroom, she finds Nerd in an unconscious state. She screams for aid and alerts everyone about the situation, terrified. Irina runs inside and attempts unsuccessfully to perform CPR on him. Everyone realizes he's died and goes out of the room, sorrowful. Shortly after, the group's alpha male, Valera, explains that if they want to escape out of this area alive, they must move quickly. He advises that they smash the CCTV cameras and deliver their messages to the individuals holding them captive as the first move. The entire group agrees on the decision, so they begin breaking all of the cameras one by one. They are all now waiting for a response. Meanwhile, a boy can be seen driving his car toward the city's outskirts. When he tries to enter the city, he is stopped by a group of army commanders who order him to return. He refuses, claiming that his sister is stuck inside and that he must rescue her. When the officers again refuse him, the boy returns to his car, accelerates, and drives through the barrier to enter the city. A middle-aged man named Sergei, on the other hand, hears Randomski scream for help and rushes to his aid. The latter is eventually free, although he is still restrained by handcuffs. Nonetheless, the two go outside together and witness the devastation around them, with dead bodies laying in the streets. After a while, Sergei notices a bar and proposes they go there. Inside, he pours Randomski a drink and attempts to open his handcuffs with a cork remover. In the following scene, Max, the boy who earlier broke the border barrier, stops his car in front of a building and runs inside to look for his sister. He knocks on the apartment door but receives no response. As a result, he exits the building and enters the nearby hospital where Rena once worked. Max notices a doctor fleeing from a surgery area after strolling about for a while. He rushes up to the doctor and inquires about his sister. Instead of answering his query, the doctor confesses that he is infected and advises Max to avoid him. He dies on the spot after injecting himself with a syringe. Back in the underground bunker, the survivors decide to keep Nerd's body in the freezer. Irina then covers his face with a rag and sits by the dead. She is still devastated by the fact that she was unable to save Nerd. Mitya approaches her in this position and attempts to convince her that it was not her fault that Nerd died. He also states that individuals are born to die and that this is a natural process. As the two are intensely engaged in their talk, the freezer door automatically closes, trapping them within. Irina and Mitya plead for assistance, but no one hears them. Mitya proposes that they hug each other to keep warm because they are about to freeze to death. Irina agrees without hesitation, and the two cuddle. One thing leads to another, and they are about to kiss when Pasha opens the door to hunt for food. Meanwhile, Mitya rushes to confront Xenia, believing he is the one who put them in the freezer. As expected, the latter denies it, but Mitya is not going down without a fight. He gathers everyone around a table to try to figure out who the real culprit is. During their conversation, Valera explains that one of them is a snitch, passing information to the people who have locked them there. Hearing this, Nadia adds that whoever is the snitch must be a skilled individual, because the kidnappers would not pay a useless person. She then looks around the table and points to Irina, claiming that she is the smartest of them all. She can do tests and procedures, which would be extremely useful to the kidnappers. Hearing this, the entire gang turns on her and questions her about her background, but Irina refuses to respond and walks away, adding gasoline to the fire. The action then changes to a pub, where Randomsky awakens from a hangover. Sergei is nowhere to be found, but it is revealed that he was able to free himself from the handcuffs. Randomsky eventually starts looking for Sergei, only to discover him dead in the kitchen. He was already infected with the virus, it turned out. Mitya confronts Nadia inside the underground bunker's restroom and requests narcotics. He holds her by the neck and kisses her when she refuses to have any. Following this, the two begin undressing and get intimate, unaware that Xenia is photographing everything from inside one of the bathrooms. Later, as everyone is talking, Nadia emerges in a towel and attacks Xenia, believing he is the one who shut off the shower. Natasha then enters from the other chamber, informing everyone that there is no water in the bunker. The freezer has also been turned off. Terrified, they swiftly gather the remaining water bottles and exit the freezer. A gathering of high-ranking officials is seen elsewhere debating the city's position. They are remorseful for entrusting their top-secret project, Clayton, to Glitov. The group gathers around the table in the bunker and attempts to ration the remaining bottles of water. Valera, on the other hand, becomes belligerent and declares that he will be in charge of the food and water supply from now on. Pasha deduces from everyone's angry gaze that they are being punished for shattering the cameras. Sasha and Xenia start repairing a camera right away and eventually succeed. They next attempt to persuade their kidnappers to turn on the freezer and water supply. Instead of listening to their wishes, a loud obnoxious noise is played in the bunker, prompting them to cut all the electric wires. Meanwhile, Sasha examines the bathroom ventilation and concludes that the air supply has likewise been cut off. Elsewhere, when Randomsky is looking for his daughter, Max runs into him and the two of them hide behind a building. Randomsky confesses that he is one of the scientists that invented the virus once they reach a safe spot. He was under pressure from a bunch of bad men whose sole goal was power and fortune. Randomsky then begs Max to assist him in finding his daughter, but the child refuses, claiming that he does not assist terrorists. Glitov meets with high-ranking officials in the following scene and apologizes for his error. He also tells them that Randomsky has died. Glitov then tells the officials that he is committed to their objective and will never betray them. He goes away after saying this, but not before ordering the officials to make a choice on his future. Meanwhile, trying to escape the bunker, Valera begins rummaging through the storage area for anything helpful. He eventually discovers certain materials that will aid him in the building of a bomb. Valera then addresses the other members of the group and outlines his strategy. He intends to blow out one of the exit doors with the bomb. Despite the fact that the mission is perilous, the crew is willing to take the chance, thus they agree. With this, Valera begins preparing the explosive with the assistance of Xenia. The radio transmitter in the room immediately begins to work. A man describes how the virus has destroyed the entire city, killing thousands of people and infecting millions more. This astounds everyone in the room, and some even believe the underground bunker is a blessing in disguise. Nonetheless, they carry on with the bomb experiment, mounting it on one of the bunker's exit doors. The episode concludes with Valera lighting a cigarette and everyone else waiting for the bomb to blow. View moduli insert chart trending up predict basic.